प्रेमामृताम्बनिधि कुजत कोकिलहं संसार सुगण कीर्ण मयूराकुले नाना रत्न निबद्ध मूल विटप श्रीयुक्त वृंदावने राधा कृष्ण महन्निसं प्रभजतौ जीवार्थदौ जौ बुधा।
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. We want to welcome you this morning to our regular Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam reading and discussion from the unadulterated books of Śrīla Prabhupāda. Unadulterated, that means unchanged, because we are very concerned to protect Prabhupada's words, which, according to philosophy, these words are very sacred and should not be changed. And this, unfortunately, has been going on, like the Bible, for example. The Bible, there's so many different versions of the Bible. Yes. And who knows what Jesus really said because of all these changes. And in the same way as our God brothers, that's who's changing these books, is our God brothers. Strange, eh? Disciples of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, who claim to understand this philosophy, but are spreading a misinformation campaign. This seems to be very popular in the modern society that we live in, that people lie to suit their own purposes. This is lying. It's all based on false ego and a material perspective on their life, not on anyone else's. It's all personal ambition. And this sectarianism is really how ISKCON has evolved in 2025. It started with the zonal guru system, which I was a victim of, actually. It was terrible when Prabhupada departed from the manifested world. He deputed a certain group of people to become Ritviks. Those were people that would initiate on his behalf. There's a book out by a fellow from, used to be in New Vrindavan. His name is Rishikesh. He was initiated by Kirtananda. And he has a book out called The 11 Emperors. Interesting title. They're not really emperors, let's put it that way. They're actually, they were sinful, degraded individuals. And that was revealed in due course of time by many of them. There was one fellow in Russia, and he had particular success there. He kicked everybody out that was his godbrother. That was his strategy. I'll just get rid of everybody. So he methodically got rid of all of his godbrothers and set up his own kingdom. And then he was getting a regular massage from a lady, and eventually he decided to renounce sannyas and get married. Now he lives in somewhere in the Alachua region with another woman that he got married to. He ditched the other one. And he has a dog. And along with that, he stole millions of dollars of Prabhupada's money. Millions. So we've been talking about that. It's called the deep state of ISKCON. And it is our hope that the devotees will rise up and somehow or other deal with this so that people understand what has really happened in this history and how people are being deceived. And this misinformation campaign will be exposed. So that's everyone's responsibility here to tell the truth. There's nothing better than the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me, Krishna. Huh? This is very important. And that's a mission. And Prabhupada was on a mission, as you know, a very great. He called it an adventure, a great adventure. And we've been reading the diaries of Śrīla Prabhupāda in this journey of difficulty that he was in. Of course, everything is difficult in the material world, everything. Like we've talked about sickness. Unfortunately, one of our friends has got a case of severe cancer. And we've asked you, Paul, to pray for Paul in Mexico, and he's doing better. It seems that Krishna is listening to our prayers, and by the mercy of the Lord, he's getting better a little bit. Who knows what tomorrow will bring, but thank you everyone for, your prayers. I appreciate it so much that we're all praying together. The family that prays together, you've heard that saying. The family that prays together, here's another way to look at it. The family that chants together stays together. The family that chants together, that reads together, like we have these classes. We ask people to come on time. Somehow or other, people don't come on time. But we have no legislative ability to tell anybody what to do. No, this is a voluntary process, but everyone should try to come on time and stay on time and be disciplined. Chant your rounds, come to the classes 3 times a week, and that's part of the requirement for initiation. We were going to go over the terms of initiation today, but we'll save that till next Thursday when we have Chaitanya Charitamrita reading and discussion. And today what we're going to do is we're going to go to the diaries and review some of the summaries of Prabhupada's work as he describes it to one of his godbrothers, Madhav Maharaj. And this was a letter dated August 1st, 1966. That's some time ago, isn't it? So let's go through it. We'll comment a bit on it, and we'll just read it. And all of you absorb yourself in this and get a real sense of how Prabhupada struggled with his godbrothers, just like we do. In fact, we call it Gaudiya Mat Part 2. That's what we're in here. People, we've asked our godbrothers, come forward, let's discuss. But has anyone come forward? No, they hide in shame. It's shameful what they've done, replacing Prabhupada's Vani incarnation with Vapu, their personal nonsense. I have therefore very recently, Prabhupada says here, incorporated one organization very recently, within a fortnight past, under the name of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, incorporated in the USA. It was actually incorporated in New York State. The trustees of this organization are all American gentlemen headed by one of the leading lawyers of New York, Mr. Stephen J. Goldsmith, Bachelor of Science, etc., who comes regularly in my weekly classes and chants the Maha Mantra very loudly. So Prabhupada here, Mother Rochisha, what he's doing is he's trying to motivate his godbrothers, and specifically Madhav Maharaj, that there are very intelligent people here in America, and if you come here and help me, we can have great success because I have some success already. I have some success that I've attracted a lawyer. A very expert way that Prabhupada was trying to enthuse others to take up the banner. Now, the chance for preaching the cult, and remember the word cult back then, Michael Dillon, the meaning was a group of people who carried a certain set of beliefs. That's what the meaning of cult is. It's now a pejorative term to describe religious groups that aren't according to the norm of so-called society. But this is a result of the deprogramming events that took on form after Jim Jones and 900 people drank poison. That's very similar to some of these people in this ISKCON group. They've drank the poison of deception. They're infected. Very deep infection, by the way. Now, the chance for preaching the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Western countries like America and Europe is practically established. So Prabhupada's qualifying it practically. So he has a vision that it's going to happen. And if the organization is properly managed, well, that's unfortunate. But he qualifies it if it's properly managed. I'm sure there will be no dearth of financial facilities from the American citizens. So there's a lot of wealth here if people can contribute to it. We do need donations. And if anybody here in our group is interested in donating money for the Hare Krishna Society, for our book publishing and our online preaching, don't hesitate. We don't take salaries. No, we don't. Nor expenses. We don't charge expenses against the corporation for our travel. and our hotel accommodation. But I think this organization should have cooperation. My eyes can't see here. From all countries of the world, especially India, and more specifically, from the Gaudiya Vaishnavas who are pledged to take the responsibility of preaching Chaitanya cult in every town and village of the world, which Prabhupada is trying to do, and they are staying in their temples, setting up their own kingdoms. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? That's what they do, our godbrothers now. Setting up their own bank accounts and their own followers. Nadanam, najanam, nasindarim. Completely breaking all the rules of our sampradaya. I'm therefore inviting the first cooperation from my godbrothers. Listen to these words, everyone. This great adventure. We're on an adventure, all of us, with Śrīla Prabhupāda. So get on the train and ride with us back home, back to Godhead. Don't drop off like most people do. I'm very much hopeful of success of the attempt, and I'm seeking your good consultation, if it is possible, to have full sympathetic cooperation of my godbrothers in India in this adventure. Śrīmad-Brahmachari Mangala Niloy, and we read that letter that Prabhupada sent to him, has already agreed to come here to assist me fully, but I wish that each and every one of the different Gaudiya Math organizations, so they're already segregated in their efforts, like our godbrothers, have all their own corporations. It's very nefarious, eh? May kindly send one person, respectively, to work under my direction in these foreign countries. That would give him 60. I believe there were 60 centers. So that would give him 60 people on the startup. Because all these Western people, sure, they're trying, but have no background. We're completely like babes in the woods. Just have no idea. And thus become individually a member of the international organization above mentioned. Look at that, eh? How interesting. This is, just think about this, everybody. This is back in 1966. There's the picture. Look at Śrīla Prabhupāda. Look at it. How serious he is and stately. Very stately. The qualifications of such intending candidates must be that he must be able to speak English, or be well versed in playing khol or singing if one is qualified with all the above qualifications. It is very good otherwise. He must be qualified at least one of them. I always say that, you have to qualify people. And I wanted to mention just briefly, when you distribute books, these Bhagavatams, be sure that you don't have them distributed to people that'll put them in the garbage can. Don't do that. Like I was talking about book distribution in the O'Hare Airport. When I used to go to Chicago and sell books in the corridors there, we'd go by the garbage cans, the books would be in the garbage. This is not a business of just selling books. Oh, I sold all these books, I got all this. That's money business. Preaching means you preach to people, you try to make them devotees and get them read these books, just like we enjoy them. Be intelligent. So far they're coming here, I shall take all the responsibility for passage. It's interesting. He's just starting out, but he's saying with great confidence that he will pay for everything. And maintenance. Would kindly consider this proposal immediately and let me know your decision per return of the post. Text missing. For this corporation, there was some missing sections. For this corporation program, Śrīla Prabhupāda wanted us to do everything. Well, this is some kind of a note. In complete cooperation, and thus I'm inclined to have full cooperation in the great attempt of preaching in the foreign countries. Just like we ask people to come forward, our godbrothers, nobody does. All the camps of our various camps may at least cooperate in the matter of spiritual activities, and I may be able to provide any number of men. One may be now inclined to come here and work under my direction. There's great possibility of Lord Chaitanya's cult being preached amongst the younger section of all of the Americans, and some of them are hearing me very seriously to accept the philosophy. By the way, almost everybody that was from there is either dead and gone, or they blooped anyway. Our men in the ideal line of activities chalked out by Śrīla Prabhupada will be a great help to me. He's referring to their guru, and the persons who are now seriously attending my classes. Yes, we want people to come to our classes and figure out what this philosophy is. Yes, how to be here as a devotee. Awaiting to hear from you as early as possible with the list of names. Prabhupada's pushing him. With the list of names who will come here from different camps. Different camps. I'm asking people here to practice Krishna consciousness through music, dance, philosophy, science, religion, and the distribution of prasadam. I'm asking them to become freed from all sorts of anxieties by practicing the transcendental sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, etc. And I'm asking them to join the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Inc. My classes are being held thrice a week in the evenings between 7 to 9 p.m. and hope you are well. So we're also doing the same. We're asking people to come, even though, unfortunately, fortunately, let's say, we have 20, how many? Well, one was here and then they're gone. So we're at 26. It's certainly not very many. We'll finish off here and then we'll move forward. But I wanted to mention that the other day, there was the Super Bowl here in America. And there was this fellow, I never heard of him before. He did the halftime show. And his name is Kendrick Lamar. And he actually did a sensational production. I think they spent $30 million on it. Can you imagine? It was 13 minutes long, Ram Raghava. 13 minutes long, and they spent $30 million to produce this. And I never really understood what he was saying. Okay, he was talking so fast, I just couldn't. Caught a couple of words in the 13 minutes. But I had a chance to review it. Being a musician, I was kind of interested. And I got the realization that even though, like, a lot of people didn't like it because there wasn't a lot of music, but there were words. And guess what? Millions of people hundreds of millions of people knew the words. And in this way, they were able to understand his message. This is what this is about. The words of our spiritual master in his Vani incarnation. Now, we've only got a few people here. Hey, Michael? A few. At least look, I'm not complaining. We're very happy there's someone here. But compared to the material world and how many people listen to the words of a conditioned soul, and you know how many people were there at that show? 120 million people. 120 million. And since that show, there's been 1 billion people listen to the words of this talker. So words are very valuable, everyone. And the words of the spiritual master are the most important message that we can hear for ourselves and deliver to others. So we have a lot of work to do, and we want to thank you for being here. I'm not yelling at you, any of you, no. I'm just trying to encourage us to carry on with this mission to protect Prabhupada and his legacy in his Vani incarnation. Forget about Vapu from these bogus people. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada and the Sankirtan movement of the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society. Join together, cooperate, let's march forward. And let's go ahead, Ram Raghava, and have Prabhupada chant for us his bhajan, and we'll go from there with Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu in California. Hare Krishna.
Sai.
Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yaśodā-nandana Braja Jana Nandana. Yaśodā-nandana Braja Jana Nandana. Jayam Swasaram Shukridrajagacharya Siddhara Sadasyaman Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Jai. Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridhavan ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Navadvip Dham ki Jai. Swami Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. Ganga Mai ki Jai. Jamuna Mai ki Jai. Tulasi Devi ki Jai. Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Swami Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. From Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam. Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1 to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2 to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3 to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4 to Śrīla Vyāsadeva, the author, from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. As we do every week, we will be reciting a few specific Sanskrit verses from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam itself, from Canto 1, Chapter 2, explaining the meaning and the benefit of hearing this powerful transcendental literature. Yadanudyasita yuktaha karmagranti nibandhanam chindanti kovidastasya ko nakuryat kataratim. Intelligent persons do cut off the internet of the knot of reactionary work by remembrance of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not give attention to his message? Shushrushoho sardadhanasya vasudeva kataruchihi syan mahat sevaya vipraha punyatirtha nishevanat. O the twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all ranges of vice, a standard of great service is done. And as the result of such great service, affinity in the messages of Vasudeva is made possible. Srinvatam svakataha Krishna punyashravana kirtanaha hridyantastoya bhadrani vidunoti suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of a truthful devotee, does cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge for hearing his Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard.
Yogurt. I'm going to have cereal.
Okay.
When properly heard and chanted. Nashtaprayeshu babadrishu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised for transcendental songs, comes into being as an irrevocable fact. Ktadarajas-tamo bhava kamalobhadayaschaye chetaye teranaviddam stitam satviprasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time, the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in a mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayati. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in a mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened-minded man affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Vidyate hridaya granti schidyante sarva samshaya shiyante chasya karmani drishta evatmanishvari. The knot of one's heart is thus pierced, and all misgivings are cut into pieces. The chain of fruitive actions are terminated along with the seeing of oneself, the dominating factor. We will proceed with our chosen verses today from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 6. I believe it is text number 21. All English synonyms, translations, and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Text number 21. Antasmin janmani bhavan mama drashtum yarharahati avipakva kashayanam durdarsha aham kuyoginam anta o Nārada. Asmin, this, janmani, duration of life, bhavan, yourself, ma, not, ma, may, drashtum, to see, arahati, deserve, avipakva, immature, kashaya, material dirts, durdarsha, difficult to be seen, kuyoginam, incomplete in service. Translation by His Divine Grace, Śrīla Prabhupāda. O Nārada, I regret very much that during this span of life, you shall no more be able to see me. Those who are incomplete in service and is still immature in being freed from all material dirts hardly can see me. Purport. The personality of Godhead is described in the Bhagavad Gita as the most pure, the supreme, and the absolute truth. There is no trace of a tinge of materiality in his person, and as such, nobody can approach him who has the slightest tinge of material affection. The beginning of devotional service starts from the point when one is freed from at least two forms of material modes, namely the modes of passion and the modes of ignorance. The result is exhibited by the sign of being freed from kama, lust, and lobha, covetousness. That is to say, one must be freed from the desires of sense gratification and the avarice of sense satisfaction and avarice of sense gratification. The balanced modes of nature is goodness, and to be completely free from all material tinges is to become free from the mode of goodness also. To search the audience of God in a lonely forest is considered as the modes of goodness. One can go out into the forest for attaining spiritual perfection, but that does not mean one can see the Lord personally there. One must be completely freed from all material attachments, be situated on the plane of transcendence, which alone will help the devotee to be in personal touch with the personality of Godhead. The best method is therefore one should live at a place where the transcendental form of the Lord is worship. The temple of the Lord is transcendental place, whereas the forest is materially good habitation. A neophyte devotee is always recommended to worship the deity of the Lord, Archana, then to go into the forest for searching out the Lord. Devotional service begins from the process of Archana, better than the process of going out in the forest. In his present life, which is completely freed from all material hankerings, Sri Nārada Muni does not go into the forest, although he can turn every place into Vaikuntha by his presence only. He travels from one planet to another to convert men, gods, Kinnara, Gandharvas, Rishis, Munis, and everyone into becoming the devotees of the Lord. By his such activities, he has engaged many devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, and many others in the transcendental service of the Lord. A pure devotee of the Lord therefore follows the footprints of the great devotees like Nārada, Prahlada, etc., and engages whole time in the business of glorifying the Lord by the process of kirtan in different manners. Such preaching process is transcendental to all material qualities. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Gurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandana Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sarkara Yuktam Kadate Visheshata Adadana Strinam Dante Ridam Yache Punah Punah Śrīmad Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyam Sadadasu Asmi Sarabata Tat Kripapikshako Nityam Tat Preshta Sat Karomi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In the Katha Upanishad, Śrīla Prabhupāda used to often quote from this very good book, the Upanishads, describing how one can only attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead when the Supreme Personality of Godhead reveals himself to the devotee. Now, this is quite significant because a devotee may attempt to attain the mercy of Krishna, practice austerities, practice so many things, but only by pure devotion can one attain the level of seeing Krishna face to face. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 12, text 61, Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 12, text 61, Prabhupada speaks, E Mahabhagavata Janhara Darshane, Vrajrinda-nandana Smriti Oi Sarvajane. Translation, here is a great devotee, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. Upon seeing him, everyone can remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, son of Maharaj Nanda. Purport. Incidentally, tomorrow is the disappearance day of His Divine Grace, Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In the purport, Prabhupada says, on his Anubhashya, Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur states that a materialist mistakenly accepts the body and mind as the source of material enjoyment. In other words, a materialist accepts the bodily conception of life. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not regard the son of Maharaj Prataprudra with the idea that he was a materialist, being the son of a materialist, nor did he consider himself the enjoyer. Mayavadi philosophers make a great mistake by assuming that the Satchidananda Vigraha, the transcendental form of the Lord, is like a material body. However, there is no material contamination in transcendence, nor is there any possibility of imagining a spirituality in matter. One cannot accept matter as spirit. As indicated by the technical words Bhauma Idyadihi, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10:84-13, materialistic Mayavadis imagine the form of God in matter, although according to their imagination, God is unlimitedly formless. This is simply mental speculation. Even though Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he placed himself in the position of a gopi. He also accepted the king's son directly as the son of Maharaj Nanda, Vrajendra-nandana Hari. This is perfect vision according to the direction of the Vedic culture as confirmed in Śrīmad-Bhāgavad-gīta, Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Such acceptance of the absolute truth according to Vaishnava philosophy is explained in both the Mundaka Upanishad 3-3 and the Katha Upanishad 1-23 in the following words: Nayamatma pravachena labhya namedaya nabahuna shrutena yame vesha brunutitena labhyas tasyesha atma vibrunuti tanum svam. The Supreme Lord is not obtained by expert explanations, by vast intelligence, nor even by much hearing. He is obtained only by one who he himself chooses. To such a person, he manifests his own form. The living entity is entangled in material existence due to his lack of such spiritual vision. Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Thakur has sung in his Kalyana Kalparataru, Samsare asya prakriti bhajya purusha abhimani mari. When the living entity comes to the material world, he thinks himself the enjoyer. Thus, he becomes more and more entangled. The point why I read this purport is the specific quotation Prabhupada is given from the Mundaka Upanishad as well as the Katha Upanishad. That basically the Prabhupada says is obtained only by one whom he himself chooses. To such a person, he manifests his own form. So we see that there are numerous practitioners of Bhakti Yoga or different practices for many, many years. Many persons will practice very severe austerities, engage in meditations, engage in jnana yoga, study of shastras, learning of Sanskrit, study of the Upanishads, so many different spiritual practices, but only by bhakti, by development of unalloyed of Krishna, can one attain perfection. This is also described in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktyamam Abhijanati. Krishna himself describes that only by bhakti can one achieve him. Krishna describes how to perform this bhakti. It is not a difficult process. It is not a complicated process. It does not require any special educational qualification. It does not require any special position. It does not require a special birth and a special Brahmin family. Anyone can achieve that perfection. This is also described in the Brahma Samhita at the end, where described in chapter 5, text 59, Pramanes tumadachares tadabhyaser nirantaram bodhayam atmanatmanam bhaktim apyuttamam labet. The highest devotion is attained by slow degrees, by the method of constant endeavor for self-realization, with the help of scriptural evidence, theistic conduct, and perseverance in practice. Then it describes in text number 60, Yasyaha shreyaskaram nasti, yaya nivaliptam apnuyat, yasadayati mameva, bhaktim tameva sadhayet. These preliminary practices of devotion, sadhana bhakti, are conducive to the realization of loving devotion. Loving devotion to whom there is no superior well-being, who goes hand in hand with the attainment of exclusive state of supreme bliss, and who can lead to myself. In the purport, Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explained, the jiva soul has no better well-being than loving devotion. In this it is realized the final beatitude of jivas. The lotus feet of Krishna are attainable only by loving devotion. He who cultivates the preliminary devotional activities, anxiously keeping in view that realized state of devotion, can alone attain to that object of all endeavor. None else can have the same. In text number 61, it is described, abandoning all meritorious performances, serve me with faith. The realization will correspond to the nature of one's faith. The people of the world act ceaselessly in pursuance of some ideal. By meditating on me by means of those deeds, one will attain devotion characterized by love in the shape of supreme service. So this is again another evidence from the sacred Shastras that simply by the practice of devotion, and there are numerous other devotional citations from Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Nārada Bhakti Sutra, Sandilya Sutras, so many different literatures which explain the meaning of devotional service to Lord Krishna. It is not complicated, it is not difficult. We've often discussed, Krishna says, everyone can practice this. Patram pushpam phalam toyam, yo me bhaktya prayachati, tadaham bhakti uparitam asnami tat prayatmadaha. That you simply offer me a leaf, a flower, a fruit, some water, with devotion. The word is given bhaktya. This is not very difficult. It is not very complicated. It only becomes complicated if one starts to invent or manufactures or interprets the different ways of practicing this bhakti. That is why when we study the Shastra, we study the Shastra with the commentaries of the Acharyas. Shastra means just like we were reading that verse from the Katha Upanishad. That verse is explained very nicely by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Now, there's many people who study the Upanishad, many people who study Shastra. Why is it that they don't come to the same understanding as the Vaishnavas? Why? Prabhupada explains, this is a lecture in Vrindavan, India, a lecture on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.7.23 on September 20th, 1976. September 20th, 1976. It is explained, Tvamadya Purusha Sakshad Ishvaraha Prakriti Paraha Mayam Vyudasya Chit Shaktya Kevalyestita Atmani, from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.7.23. You are the original personality of Godhead, who expands himself all over the creations and is transcendental to material energy. You have cast away the effects of the material energy by dint of your spiritual potency. You are always situated in eternal bliss and transcendental knowledge. Śrīla Prabhupāda explains, Tvamadya Purusha Sakshadishvara Prakriti Para Mayam Vyudasya Chit Shaktya Kevalyestita Atmani. So we have to know the Supreme Personality of God at true authority, not by speculation. Speculation is no use. Atapite deva padam bhuyadvaya prasada leshanugrita hebahi janati tattvam bhagavan mahim no nachanya ekopichiram vichinvan. From Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10:14-29, the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be known by a person who has got a slight favor of the Lord upon him. This is the Vedic version. Nayamatma pravachena labhya namedaya bahuna srutena. Atma, the supreme absolute truth, cannot be understood. Nayamatma pravachena labhya. By becoming a great debater, one can understand the Supreme. That is not possible. Nayamatma pravachena labhya nabahuna srutena. Nor by a person who is very vastly learned, or by a great scientist or philosopher. Namedhaya. In this way, we cannot understand. But one who is surrendered, he can understand. Arjuna is surrendered. In every case, is surrendered to Krishna. As soon as there is any problem or no problem, he surrendered. Not that when there is a problem, I am surrendered, and when there is no problem, I am independent. No, always surrendered. That is Arjuna's position. Recently, a devotee sent me a very nice little clip of Śrīla Prabhupada explaining the process of bhakti. Prabhupada said, Krishna is keeping a notebook of all the activities that a devotee is doing. He's keeping a notebook of all the activities. Just like he's keeping, Yamaraj is keeping the notebook of all the activities of the non-devotees. But Krishna is keeping the activities of everything that a devotee is doing. So even if one is not perfect or complete, Krishna still rewards the devotee. He's giving him a chance in the next life. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Suchinam sramatam gehe yoga brashto vijayate. Arjuna is asking Krishna, what happens to a devotee who does not reach perfection in this life? And Krishna says he will be given a chance to be born in a wealthy family or in a family of highly elevated brahmanas or devotees. So we see sometimes on the internet, I've seen some little children, they're 2, 3 years old, 4 years old, and they're playing the Madanga, chanting Hare Krishna, playing to Lord Narasimha, worshiping Tulsi. This is the result of past life. They're giving the chance in this life to continue. But Prabhupada also says, try to do it in this life. Don't risk, because the next life, you never know what situation. Prabhupada is cautious. In the next life, you may get a body that, you may want a certain type of body, but you may not get that body. This is not up to you. This is up to Krishna. Here we go. Prapya punakritam lokan Ushitvastaspatihi sumaha. Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Brashto Bijayate. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Prabhupada explains in the purport, the unsuccessful yogis are divided into two classes. One is fallen after very little progress, and one is fallen after long practice of yoga. The yogi who falls after a short period of practice goes to the higher planets, where pious living entities are allowed to enter. After prolonged life there, one is sent back again to this planet to take birth in the family of a righteous Brahmana Vaishnava or of an aristocratic merchants. Now, again, this is a very, very important instruction because many devotees ask, oh, I don't know if I'm going to finish in this lifetime. I don't know if I'm successful. The best thing to do is to try to make as much spiritual advancement in this life as possible. And how do we do that? By chanting. We have to absorb ourselves in the chanting of the name of Krishna and hearing the message of Krishna from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Bhagavatam according to the direction of the bona fide Acharya, the current Acharya of the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. Before finishing here, tomorrow is the disappearance day of His Divine Grace, Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, a very auspicious special day. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. Thank you, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, such a great soul who has been blessed by our spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, to repeat exactly Prabhupada's messages. So this is disciplic succession. And it's important to understand that devotional service is inexhaustible. In other words, when you make advancement in Krishna consciousness with your effort, it's never lost. It's always with you. It's an accumulation. It's like putting money in the bank, Krishna conscious bank account. You put the money in and you never lose it. You build the balance. So eventually you become qualified to get out of this material world by constant effort, steady determination, patience, enthusiasm, and determination to never give up the ship. A lot of people give up. Usually it's due to false ego. The false ego just is a very subtle force in the conditioned soul. And it's based upon the principle of I, me, and mine. It's all about me. It's not all about you. It's all about Krishna. It's all about Prabhupada. And it's about following this process. So many people are victimized by the false ego. And Yaśodā-nandana was saying very appropriately, it's a simple process. But why can we not hear the message and follow it? It's a simple process. It's a mystery, actually, but it's covered over. It's obscured from the vision of people because of false ego. Oh, mental speculation. That seems to be the business of most people. Even when they're ready to die, they continue to speculate. Oh, it's this, it's that, I was this, I was that. I think this, I think that. No. Stop thinking and listen. That's a disease most people have. I've encountered that quite a bit. in dealing with other people. Because you're trying to have a conversation with them. It's like two people, you're trying to talk. And when you speak to them, they don't hear what you say. They just look at you like, what? And then they talk at you. It's this, it's that, it's this. This is not a difficult thing. If you listen to them, you think, they didn't hear a word I said. And then you could say to them, you know what your problem is? You don't listen to anybody except your own mind. You're caught up in this dream world of imagination or mental speculation. And that goes on. Now, someone could say, well, how do you know? Because you can see it. When you hear the message of the spiritual master in his books, his unchanged books, then you get an understanding of what it means to hear truth, not mental speculation. The Vedic scriptures reveal this mystery of life to us through Śrīla Prabhupāda's unadulterated scriptures, his unchanged books. And there are thousands and thousands of books on truth, so-called truth, but they're all mental speculation, like philosophy. There's so much philosophy. I had a PhD, Ram Raghava, a PhD philosopher from UCLA. He lived here at my ashram for about a year and a half. And we used to, if I could say, argue truth. Because he was sure that he knew what he was saying. He hadn't have a clue what he was talking about. It was actually unfortunate. But nonetheless, people that think they know by theoretical speculation, they're actually in the ocean of material life and they're lost. You can't get out of the material world by mental speculation. That's why we very much stress, everybody, the Vani words of the spiritual master, because they open the door of transcendental knowledge and destroy the mystery of life, which is what is its purpose. It's a simple thing. And Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu said that. It's a very simple process. It's not complicated. Like if you're told, well, chant 16 rounds. Well, I can't. Follow these principles of hearing constantly. Oh, no, I can't. Why? Well, I'm busy. Oh, what are you doing? Whatever I want, because I'm on my own, especially when you get money. Money can be a real trap for the living entity. Because with money in this society, you have independence. In other words, you don't have to go to work like other people. You don't have to listen to a boss like most people have to. You can do whatever you want. If you want to get on a plane and go somewhere, you can go and you don't care. Like a lot of these rich people, they can go anywhere, do anything they want. And they can waste their time because they have money. It's a contamination. It actually feeds the false ego of the conditioned soul. Who do you think you are saying anything to me? I'm rich. Do you get it? I'm rich. Well, that is not, and Lord Chaitanya taught us that there are two pitfalls in terms of making spiritual advancement. Rupa Goswami. What are they? Women and wealth. That's what it is. Because they massage the false ego of the conditioned soul. You get massaged. Oh, I got the money. You know, We've all had some money. Yeah, sure. And, but we think, no one can harm me or hurt me. But no amount of money can save you when you're going to die. In fact, what happens if you don't engage what you have in the service of Krishna, it won't help you after you leave this body. Actually, it continues to entangle us in the material world, which is this very serious problem. And like you said, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, there is no guarantee what your birth will be. Oh, you can think this or that. Think whatever you want. You have no idea. You're speculating. Actually, Prabhupada explained it, Ram Raghava, that it is very hard to understand the actions of karma. It's very complicated. A lot of us, we suffer from past karmic activity. Very difficult. But we know one thing, if we take shelter of Śrīla Prabhupāda, and we take shelter of the activities that he has given us, they're very simple activities. Simple for the simple, pure Angelo, but difficult for the crooked. And by the way, I do appreciate that there are devotees. You'll see I highlight people in the talk because I see you on the screen. The people that don't put their faces up here, you're a name in the eternal flame. I can't see you, but I know you're here and I appreciate it. I'm not saying that. But the etiquette is to put your face into the Zoom call. That's not my rule. That's what they recommend in Zoom meetings, that you put your face here. Show who you are. Stand up. Oh, look at it. You're funny. I was looking about, I just saw some things on, you're in Switzerland, right? Yeah. I just saw a section on Switzerland. They said that there people don't work very much. They've got so much money that they don't have to work as much as other people in other countries. Very interesting. I mean, it's a blessing, actually. Very good, very nice. So that was a little bit of so mental speculation is of no use on the spiritual journey. And we must avoid mental speculation. And Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu has often mentioned to me and to all of us about Sripati Prabhu, our godbrother. I don't know where he is. I think he's in England somewhere nowadays. But years ago, we served together in the Toronto temple, and he used to teach that very important principle. Watch out for mental speculation. Try to just simply hear the philosophy. Try to simply follow the instructions. And in this way, you'll make advancement in spiritual life, and you can go back to home, back to Godhead in this lifetime. It's not, Yaśodā-nandana wrote, it's not by becoming a great debater that you can do it. Oh, people know how to debate. I know how to debate. Of course, we never get a chance to debate our godbrothers. They seem to run and hide. It is, you cannot, through science, you can be a great scientist, but that won't save you. And you can think, oh, I'm a great philosopher. That won't save you. Only one who has surrendered, and surrender is the issue, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. You surrender. Do we really understand what that means? Or is it just words that float around in our head? Oh yeah, I'm going to surrender, but not today, tomorrow. I hear that all the time here at the house. I'm going to do it, but I can't do it today. I have to do it tomorrow. Okay, go ahead. We always anticipate we're going to be here tomorrow. You never know what tomorrow may bring, Dharma Bhavana. You never know. You think you do. but you're not sure. I know when you get older, like we are, relatively speaking, old, and you hear about all the people that are around you that are dying or diseased and in different situations, you think that same illusion. Oh yeah, they're sick, but I won't be. Oh yeah, it's not me. I won't get called to the table for an operation to remove cancer from my body. I'm strong. Well, we are, but at any moment, anything can happen. Padam padam vipadam natesham. There is danger at every step. We have to be serious and follow this simple process of hearing from the spiritual master and taking up the mission of Lord Chaitanya in the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society. Some people would say, I'm going to finish up. Well, how do you know what you're doing is right? Well, judge for yourself. And then you decide. If you don't like it, go with somebody else. That's okay. We're not telling you to leave. We're telling you to use your discrimination to qualify. Here we're talking about qualification. Like Prabhupada was qualifying in the letter we read this morning, Ram Raghava. He was qualifying. That's what we do. We qualify, we determine what we're going to do, and then we decide if we're going to take action. That's everybody's. It's a simple process. Just listen and decide for yourself. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could carry on for us. Thank you. Sorry.
Well, you made some very good points here. Very important point. Sripati was quite an amazing devotee. When I first came to the temple in Montreal in 1969, there were not too many French-speaking devotees. There was one devotee there, some Dayal Nitai somebody, and he was getting ready to leave. He wanted to become a Christian monk in some monastery in the Laurentines Mountain in Quebec. And devotees had been waiting for somebody who spoke French. And within a few days, Bharadwaj, Sripati, and Ishan at the time, they sat me down. And I had very little understanding of English because you legally have to study English in school in Quebec in those days. But I could not speak it very well. So what happened, they sat me down, and Sripati especially says, you preach like this. It's very simple. Number one, you're not the body. You explained that. We were not the body. You're an eternal spirit soul. And he taught me probably a few of the first Sanskrit words that I've learned. Aham Brahmasmi. That means that you are an eternal spirit soul. Number two, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no higher truth than Krishna. He is the source of everything. Number three, Prabhupada, I think in those days we were just starting to call him Prabhupada, is a pure representative of Krishna. So whenever we preach, we tell people, you can understand the first 2 points, that you're not the body, and that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God, a true Prabhupada. Number 4, in this age, the best way to understand all of this is to chant Hare Krishna. And they taught me, they had me repeat that Hare Nama, probably 20 times right then and there. It says, you learn this. They forced me, say, you listen carefully. So then the next day, they invited some newspaper, some radio interview. Now you have to speak. So I was repeating the same 4 or 5 points again and again. And whenever they have any questions, I had the Bhagavad Gita with me, although it was in English. And they say, you tell people all the answers are in this book, Bhagavad Gita, by Swamiji. So I kept repeating the same talking point, the same preaching points again and again. And by gradually hearing from Prabhupada, then everything becomes clear, because I've mentioned before, by the time I was 14, some way or other, I had been involved in some yoga practice, and I I found some books in a library, the translation of the 4 Vedas in French. So I started to read the books, but not that I understood anything. It's not possible to understand the Vedas by just study. We just discussed that today. But somewhere I was studying this because in Catholic religion, they have no such thing as demigods. They have archangels and things like that. But in India, they got Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Varuna, Indra, so many demigods. It's bewildering for somebody brought up in some different tradition. It's very difficult to understand. But when I first got the Bhagavad Gita in 1969, I stood up the whole night. I said, I have to read this book. Because Sripati told me all the answers that you need to find are in this book. Everything. He says, you read the book from cover to cover. And I stayed up the whole night reading the book. And I said, this is it. This is the answers to all the questions I've ever had. And this is applicable not to just what I went through, but to anybody who's serious, really want to find out about the problems of life, how to solve the problem of life, should apply themselves to hearing from Śrīla Prabhupada, to hear the message and the deep knowledge that Prabhupada has given, how he has explained the meaning of Bhagavad Gita. Very important. This was an amazing experience, thanks to both Bharadwaj, Sripati, and even Ishan Prabhu. They gave me some very, very good instruction. They were very focused on Śrīla Prabhupada, and it was quite a privilege to go with them on St. Catherine Street to go on Kirtan. We would go there and chant for hours and invite people to the Sunday feast. Very amazing experience. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yes, actually, this process is very amazing, and anyone who has a chance to take it up is extremely blessed, because you consider Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, how many billions and billions and billions of living entities there are. How many billions of planets. How rare it is to be in this planet called Earth, where Krishna appeared not only in his supreme form as the Lord, Bhagavan, but also as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How rare is that? And how rare is it to get the association of a pure devotee? And we're reading about Prabhupada's pastimes, and we're getting an insight into how he is the bona fide representative of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, His Divine Grace. How rare this is. But yet people minimize it. They minimize it. Oh, it's not that important. Just like they've minimized Prabhupada's words in his books. How can you, born in America, let's say, never knew anything about Krishna consciousness, and then all of a sudden now you're become a super expert. Oh, I'm an expert. I know everything. No, you don't. So this is going on in the so-called society of opinionators. Everybody has an opinion. It's actually, I'm sick of hearing opinions. Can't stand it. That's all I have to, not just me, but all of us, Ram Raghava, we have to listen to other people's opinions. I think it's this, I think it's that, I think it's this. Shut up. You drive me crazy. I don't do that, but I think in my mind, you shut up. You don't know anything, but you think you know. Unless you hear from Prabhupada, his transcendental message, you're just dreaming in this world of illusion. Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas. Maybe you could share a few points this morning.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yeah, very interesting class today. We're talking about Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, and it seems like all throughout the theme of our books and also teachings of Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, that he taught devotees to perform devotional service without having a material motive. Of course, we all want to get knowledge. We all want to be relieved from suffering. But this material motive could be something like, say, for example, somebody comes to a temple, they see devotees are bowing down. The devotees are very humble and obedient. And somebody may think, oh, I can come here and I can become kind of a controller, and these devotees will be obedient and bow down to me. So that kind of material motive could be there, or motive to get money. But one time, 1977 Vrindavan Mayapur Festival, in Vrindavan, a devotee was giving class, and somebody asked him at the end of class, what does it mean to be a devotee of quality?
Of who?
And he said, well, we don't talk about this a whole lot, but he kind of gave an example. He said, say, for example, I might be a temple president, and different devotees have the power and potency to do book distribution or Sankirtan, but I don't have the potency, but I may want to, I want to accept the success for myself that other devotees have the power to do. So he kind of gave that as an example. And sometimes we may find that in Krishna consciousness, it's a very simple process, but sometimes it's a little bit hard to detect if somebody is having some kind of material motive. They may be wanting to perform devotional service without really having a good respect for the acharyas and so on. But if it's like, say, for here in 2025, it seems like if somebody, after all these years of discussion and debate, if they cannot understand that it's dangerous to try to change the words of the acharya or to try to replace Prabhupada, those types of things, it's almost unimaginable if somebody could be thinking that. But still, it looks like the personality of Kali comes in and affects our thinking in such a way. It's just a learning process, and Krishna has given us all this so we can learn how strong the personality of Kali is. And so it's very nice to have this association of devotees. And I just want to mention a couple of things that happened. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Well, I thought Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu gave us a clear understanding of how to do this Dharma Bhavana. And it's through association of God brothers. That's how you learn. We can't minimize that. Although there's been so much trouble since Prabhupada's departure, and so many people have deceived others, that all of us, we're very, very cautious about who we associate with. But don't give up the ship. Like Shripadi, he gave all these instructions to Yaśodā-nandana. Were they bad instructions, Dharma Bhavana? No, they were good instructions. Did they come from directly from Śrīla Prabhupāda? No, they came from Shripadi, but where did he get the instructions from? His God brothers, and it came from Śrīla Prabhupāda ultimately. So this knowledge passes down through all of us to other people. And we have to restore, this is a very important point, we have to restore the confidence of the Prabhupada God brothers, the disciples of Śrīla Prabhupada, in the minds of other people, because nowadays no one accepts anybody. That's the way it is. People are so disappointed that nobody accepts anybody. In fact, the Gurukuli kids, Dharma Bhavana, they actually, when they hear you're a Prabhupada disciple, they're like this, go away. Because they've had such bad experience. And they don't trust anybody. Ram Raghava Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Yes, I had a question, but first of all, I just wanted to thank everybody who's attending. It's really nice to have this gathering. And I'm also following the YouTube live stream. And earlier there were 15 people watching, and now there's 10 people watching. So if you're listening on the YouTube live stream, please don't hesitate to ask questions and we'll try to address them. My question was about something we read earlier from the Bhagavad Gita, the verse, Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Brashto Vijayate. So Prabhupada in the purport explains one who falls down after a short practice, what his destination is. So I wanted to ask, what does that mean, a short time versus a long time, and what happens to somebody, a yogi who falls after a long time of practice? So if somebody could please
Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could respond.
Usually this is related to what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 4, text 11, Ye yatamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. This word accordingly is very significant. It depends on the degree of surrender. It depends on the degree of maturity in devotional service. It also depends on the degree of service. Because there are, during Prabhupada's manifested presence, there are times where, for example, the mother of one of Prabhupada's servants was dying. And when she was dying, she asked her son, is your Krishna here? And when Prabhupada heard that story, he mentioned that she went back to Godhead. In Vrindavan in 1977, there was a story of one young girl. She was like 6 years old. She took some medication, and by mistake, it was the wrong medication. She died right away. I think it was the daughter of a devotee from Montreal who died recently. And what happens, Prabhupada, the devotees went to see Śrīla Prabhupada and asked him, this girl, she died in Vrindavan. Is she going back to God? And Prabhupada asked them a couple of questions. Well, who is she? What did she do? And she used to go to the temple, participate in the kirtan like devotees do. And when Prabhupada heard the story, she went back to Godhead. Anybody who dies in Vrindavan goes back to Godhead. So there are definitely special adventures to die in the Dham, like Mayapur, Navadvip, Vrindavan, and also other sacred places. But in general, it has to do with a level of consciousness at the time of death and how much service has this devotee done. It has nothing to do how many years one has been initiated or was a senior devotee or junior devotee. That is not the issue. Because practically seeing, we have seen how many devotees who may have been senior in terms of when they were first initiated or senior in age, and many times they've unfortunately manifested many severe degrees of deviation. So this depends on the level of consciousness. When it says little practice or minimal practice, it has to do with the level of realization, the level of consciousness, the level of purity, the level of dedication, the level of surrender. There's many different factors. It all is related to the level of bhakti. Bhakti is not like just one fits all. That's why there's different levels in chanting. There's Nam Aparad in the beginning, chanting with offenses. There's Nam Abbas, where the clearing stage of devotional service with the offenses gradually become purified, and the Nam Shuddha, the pure stage. That is why one is recommended never to give up. Because in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, there is a quote where it's described that even if one has made offenses, by repeatedly chanting the name of Hari again and again, one will eventually become purified, just like if one the example is given, bhumoskalitapadanam bhumereva alambanam, that if you go up a slippery stairway, but you try again and again, eventually you will succeed to get to the top. So this is just my brief explanation of what that really means.
Thank you.
Very well spoken. Thank you. And I wanted to we're coming to the end of the program. Time flies when you're having fun. And I wanted to mention that it is very important for each one of us to set up our houses where we live and make that Vrindavan or Mayapur. Create a transcendental atmosphere where you live. And in this way, you'll always be with Krishna. You know, a lot of people, they make an atmosphere which is centered around themselves. They put up the pictures of their family or their kids or something else. You know, at my house here, I have quite a bit of press from my past careers. So I put those up in the bathroom because, you don't want pictures of Krishna in the bathroom. So I put those up and people can see this and that. But in your house, you have all kinds of photos of the pastimes of Krishna. Your bookcases are filled with all kinds of books about Krishna. And your devotional songs and lectures are about Krishna. Like every day here at this ashram, when I get up, I put on Prabhupada chanting with the Shania. I was a big fan of John Coltrane, who played the saxophone, and before I joined the movement. And the Shania reminded me of that type of instrument, of the saxophone. And so when I get up every day, Yaśodā, I listen almost exclusively to Prabhupada chanting japa with the Shania in the background. And I remember that when I was in Mayapur. Remember they had, one day I heard them playing the Shania over this gate in Mayapur at the festival, and I thought, gee, what's that beautiful sound? So it takes me back to Mayapur and the Mayapur Vrindavan festivals where Prabhupada was with us. And great memories to capture in our hearts and carry on with the mission. So make your house an ashram of Vrindavan or Mayapur. Put the sounds here. Cook your prasadam, offer it to your deities, and then share that with others. I invite people over and let them have a chance to have a transcendental experience with our, what we call our people who are circles of influence in the community that they're in. You're influencing others, and in this way, this movement will spread through good association of the members of the Prabhupada Disciples Association. So thank you, everyone. We're going to be back next week. It's amazing, Mother Yochisa, how fast the weeks go. And I'm thinking, gee, it's already Sunday again. It's almost like every time I turn around, it's Sunday and it's Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class. And I'm saying, well, we'll see you again next Thursday. It's like Groundhog Day, huh? It never stops, over and over again. But let's keep going, keep trying. And this week we'll have a better week. So think about what you're going to do. I'm going to continue to work on our projects, and all of you have stuff. If you want to be in touch with us, please call me up, or Yaśodā-nanda, to send him an email. He's an email giant. And in this way, we'll keep in contact with you. We've got all kinds of things to do this week. We're preparing some exciting things for everybody moving up for our different offices, branch offices. And at the end of the program here, you'll see them all listed. And soon we're going to be contacting everybody and saying, okay, it's time to go to the battlefield and distribute some books that we're going to be receiving very soon here in America. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda and the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let's move forward. Ram Raghava, who is our co-host today, thank you. And 2 minutes and 54 seconds, according to his research, is the length of this kirtan. So chant along with Śrīla Prabhupada, and then we'll wind up with our prayers and salutations to everybody. All glories to the Sankirtan movement.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha, kripa sindubhya evacha, patitanam pavanibhyo, Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in this lively reading and discussion. Thank you, Vishwakarma Prabhu in Cold Hamilton, Ontario. Mother Rochissa Devi à Montréal, Canada, dans le froid de Montréal. Vijay Pandit, Comeva, in Douauville, Italy. Grazie mille. Hare Krishna. Pierangelo in Switzerland. Narasimha Prabhu in California, Northern California. And everybody who participating, especially Ram Raghava Prabhu in Georgia, and our good friend in Bombay. I don't see his name on the screen, but he's very, very helpful. Rupa Goswami Prabhu. Yes, he is there on the screen, definitely. Triloka Vijay in Florida. Everybody, Kanta Prabhu in Trinidad, and everybody who participates, please. Krishna Katha with his wonderful set of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam on the screen in San Diego, California. We invite everybody, please carefully read Śrīla Prabhupāda's books, and we will see you again on Thursday at 5:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 8:00 p.m. Florida time, Hamilton, Ontario time, and all glories to His Divine Grace Śrīla Prabhupāda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
È pure da consumare.
No, secondo me è proprio che
È arrivato.
è arrivata, hai capito? Perché
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.